We start there then. Should we start at the Emirates?
My
Oh,
sound, my sound's just, my sound's going.
man. Oh, man.
Right, go on then. What do you want to, what do
Oh,
you want to say about it?
I'll let you start, Matt. You know me, you're the Arsenal fan here. You're the Arsenal fan here.
Well, I posted in the group, and I think it sums up Arsenal for the last 6 weeks that they've been pretty toothless. They don't look like they've got confidence. The attack is very blunt. The chat has been about a left winger and a centre forward for the last 2 years, and it hasn't been solved. And this is what happens if you don't solve the problem. Then the outcome of that is what you saw on the field, and that's fine. Like it papers over the cracks. It's actually better for it to be exposed. Had the penalty have gone in, interesting statistic actually about the penalty.
That it was never ever a penalty. Is that the interesting statistic that you have?
Honestly,
I mean, look, it was given, so whatever. But Bayindir is the first Premier League goalkeeper on record to save a penalty in both normal time and in a penalty shootout in the same
Nice.
FA Cup game.
Oh,
Right.
it's the FA Cup. Yeah, I was going to say ever seems a bit niche. Yeah, I didn't realize how tall he was. 6'6". He doesn't.
No,
look
he's not.
that
I
big.
think that's wrong.
Yeah, he
I,
doesn't look that.
I think that's wrong because I heard them say that in the penalty shootout as well, and
That's
I
with
don't think
studs
that's
on.
right.
Yeah, that's stud assisted height, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just-
So, but he doesn't look that big when you
No.
look at him on the pitch.
I'm looking at him next to the goal now, and he's not six. He's 6'4".
He's
He's
quite
6'4".
Says he's
Google,
walking
Google-
out.
Google says 198. So yeah,
I
but
have
he didn't
never,
look that big.
I have never seen a player have a redemption arc, literally in the game.
From that kick in the first half.
From the kick in the first half to the goal and the role he played in the goal to literally just he saves the penalty and he's a completely different player.
I don't think he was that bad for the goal. I think the punch is it's not great, but he gets rid of it. He doesn't punch in his own net because he
I
had more
don't.
suspect
Yeah,
on
I
his
don't
goal.
think. Yeah, it's not an error that leads to goal. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
that
say
didn't
it's an
stand
error
out
that
to
leads
me.
to goal.
No. And then the actual goal was a deflection past him. So yeah, the punch
so-
is not perfect, but he gets rid of it. You know, the
Yeah,
Spurs one, he
calm down
literally
with the
ends up in his
redemption
net.
arc.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A more confident goalkeeper, cashes that, I think, because he could have caught it.
Yeah, actually, I do remember this now, and it was Shearer, wasn't it? Who was saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, he should have caught that." He's under quite a lot of pressure.
He was
Not
under-
only there's an Arsenal player there, and there's two United players close to him. I actually thought that was quite unfair for him.
He came over the
Shearer.
top of a United player to punch it. He could have caught that and had gone terribly wrong. Punching it was the right play. He just didn't make great contact. But then Mainu heads it straight into one of their players. So there was mistakes after him.
yeah.
I
And
feel
the
like whenever there's a foreign keeper in goal, the English commentators are always desperate to kind of paint the.
It was the same thing with Sorensen in the Chelsea net. He wasn't great in the air. I don't know if you saw him in the Chelsea highlights. Like he is a bit rope in the air, but it's just such an easy pull down for pundits. Oh, he's not good in the air. He can't kick. It's not.
But it's also, I think it's probably the hardest position, and is the most frequent position that in cup games they change up the keeper. And you need to be match fitness and match awareness is a real thing for a goalkeeper. I think more so than any other position.
Yeah,
Yeah, and other
It's right.
positions can get minutes in youth games, reserve.
Yeah.
Like keepers who are the backup keeper, they're not risked in an under 21 game. They're getting no match fitness ever.
It drives me up the wall. It's the stupidest thing that modern football clubs do, and I do not understand it. Unless you have two genuinely brilliant goalkeepers, why are you switching them out for a cup game? Like Villa do it with Martinez and bring in Olsen, and you immediately feel less secure. It's like the
you do.
one bloke on the pitch who doesn't need a rest is a
The
goalkeeper.
Olsen one makes no sense. But for United to sign goalkeepers to come and sit on number two, they go, right, yeah, you're going to be number two, but you'll play in the cup games. That's how they sign these players. Like 23-year-old goalkeepers aren't going to go and sit on a bench these days. They need a reason to go.
yeah,
Has
but
he jumped up in the rankings now with Nana? Like, is he going to get some? Is he going to get some league time?
No.
there we go. No chance. No.
And Arnold's still a really good keeper. He has his moments, but so do 90% of goalkeepers.
And he's just the number one. Like that's
Yeah.
It's no arguments. Like there's almost an expectation when the goalkeeper comes in. But to your point, Joe, I think they've got to play games. Like I know you're the second goalkeeper, but you actually got to play. You can't go the whole season without playing a single game. You know,
Especially if Martinez gets injured and this guy hasn't played a game for a year, you're going to be really.
I would understand it if it was a younger keeper. From Villa's point of view,
Yeah.
Olsen, he's not going to be here much longer. We're not developing a goalkeeper here. He's played a lot of football in his career. He's probably progressed to the point that he's going to. All we're doing is bringing in a rusty, worse keeper.
Olsen should really be looking for that third keeper role now. Like the Scott Carsons that
Scott Carson role.
And then you can develop a younger keeper. But these days, like the 18 to 21-year-old goalkeepers have to be playing to develop. They're never going to develop coming to sit on your bench. So
that's what loans are for, though, isn't it?
Your prospects are probably out on loan,
and that's where there's actual pressure as well.
I go play in League Two. We had Aaron Ramsdale as a loanee from Southampton, was he?
Mm-hmm.
No, that's where he is now.
It would have been Bournemouth, I think.
I think we had, one of the two. And in his first game, he took two balls in the net in a League Two debut, and I was like, this guy's crap. He's not going to get anywhere. And then
you were right.
Yeah. A year later, he was at Wimbledon in League One. He did all right, and then he was playing in the Premier League. The jump is so quick for them.
Yeah. But I'm not going to let Matt get out of the way, because Arteta is about to go 6-7 years with no major trophies. Embarrassing. I mean,
copy and paste last week. Community Shields. You got the Emirates Cup. No, look, I said earlier. I think this is a good thing for Arsenal. They needed to be exposed and knocked out in the tournament that they've won most. This means a lot to Arsenal Football Club. You've won it 14 times, and to go out in the first round, doesn't matter who against, but going out in the first round is just not acceptable, especially when you're at home and you have that history with it.
11 v 10 men.
I mean, 10 men...
Doesn't really change anything from a United perspective because you're going to sit in anyway.
Yeah, and we know from the Premier League, 10 men doesn't guarantee anything, and you can drag it out to extra time and then chance it in pens, which you did, and that's fine. Look, why are we looking at Arsenal when we could be talking about Tottenham, who got taken to extra time by a non-league side?
Yeah.
Deflect.
I want to go back to your Arsenal point because Arteta is under pressure on the basis he's not delivered, but he's changed everything about that club. The culture's changed, the structure's changed, how people look at Arsenal is changing, which you can say is progress, but they're not achieving anything with it. So I think if you look at it as a business, and the owners must be very happy because they're making a lot of money, but they're going nowhere with it, which is going to start really annoying fans, and that's when you're going to lose your money.
I
think they're not
Premier League's really, really hard though, and they're runners-up or thereabouts for the last 3 seasons. I don't that's a huge step forward from Arsenal 5 years ago and before.
And not just runners-up, but runners-up to a very good City side as well.
The same thing that Klopp did. You're suffering from the best manager and the best team the Premier League's ever seen, in my opinion. Sorry, Femi. And, these teams are going to go down as second places and forgotten, but they are very, very good football teams coming second in the 100 years before. They would have won the league a lot of times.
I just think Arsenal just need a catalyst. I think they're one player short, and I think they are, even with Saka in the side. I think they're just one attacking player short, probably. They'll probably rectify that in the summer. They've been heavily linked with Gyökeres.
Yeah, Isaac, Gyökeres, one of those two.
Spend 83 million now to bring Gyökeres in.
Yeah, but it's not that simple, is it? Players don't want to. I think we touched on this recently. Maybe we can do a more of a transfer episode in a couple of weeks or whatever. But so many things have to fall into place for a transfer to happen at that level, and
in January.
Yeah.
At any time.
Full stop, yeah.
At any time, but January is way harder.
So hard, yeah. It's the most. You're going to pay over 20% easily because these guys can then not replace these players. But I think in the summer, if you get the 9 that you want, if you get someone of that standard, and then you still fail, Arteta has nowhere to hide.
Yeah. Agreed.
But yeah, I mean, you can still win the Carabao Cup. It's 2-0, second leg. It's not.
Oh, I don't fancy them. Don't fancy
them
going
at all. But
going to Newcastle and turning it around.
Going to St James Park, yeah. But anyway, I mean, on yesterday's game, I think United were like resilient, and I think there's some real green shoots there. We kind of touched on it last week, didn't we? But I think Bruno's he's looking like he's finding his feet again. That finish was brilliant, and I just want to touch on the fact that one was bobbled across the face of the goal to Harry Maguire last week, and the result was very different to the one that was bobbled into Bruno Fernandes, because that was bobbled.
Yeah, I think he made a comment on Instagram saying, "Can you teach me how to do this?" or something like that.
Credit to him.
That's so funny.
It was off the back of him having a stellar performance as well this weekend.
Harry Maguire deserves a ton of credit, by the way. Honestly,
he deserves what?
A ton of credit.
He's a workhorse, mate.
He is. Yeah.
He's an absolute monster. He's of a man.
But I think he embodies everything that's changed about United and Amorim. And this might annoy you, but you've not played better football, but you're working 100 times harder.
But it's a culture thing, it's a mental thing as well. Garte said it best. When we have the ball, it's a game. When they have the ball, it's a fight.
Yeah.
And it's like that approach to running. I saw De Ligt, 90 minutes. Corner,
yeah, that clip's
and
really
then
good.
Sprint him back, and they say he's slow, but he definitely not slow at that point.
So the clip is, I think it's 91st minute, and Raya comes and plucks the ball out, and you see all 10 United players sprinting back to their own box, which is like under the last 3 or 4 managers would never have happened. And I think I actually saw the first coaching session I saw of Amorim at United. They are practicing that. They're like, as soon as we lose the ball, everyone's bombing.
He only kept saying Ahmad, run back. And that's probably the main reason Rashford's out the squad. That mentality to work hard. You don't see Rashford. I mean, technically gifted. We've talked about numerous times. He's a brilliant player, but a player who works hard, a player who gives his all. You just don't see that on the pitch. He does a lot more talking off the pitch than he does on the pitch, and it's just a culture shift within the squad now, and it's Amorim's team, and Man United are back, baby.
I don't think Rashford couldn't have done that. He could have stayed and become that player, but it's Amorim. Amorim, to make it Amorim's team, has had to take hold of the situation, which is what he's done.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say if you put a Rashford in this team for 6 months, he wouldn't be running back like everybody else is, because he definitely
he'd probably run back first 6 months and then back to his old ways. It's just I've seen it too many times with under Ole. It's that inconsistency and it's that mental fragility to literally just stay focused in the whole game and just give your all. There's one thing talking about how much you love the club. You're an academy player. You shouldn't be taught to run back. When you play for the team you actually support, the team that you grew up loving. That should be the norm. You should be the one setting the pace. And he's just not done that. And for me, I think Amorim's made the right decision, make the right call. I mean, it's worked in his favour so far, and long may that continue.
Yeah, I always think there's some players that aren't. Salah's probably the example. I've watched Salah for 10 years at Liverpool. He's never been one to bust a gut to get back and help you fall back. But, he's probably one of the club's best ever players. You don't always have to be I'm going to run around for 90 minutes to be a great player.
As long as you're scoring goals, creating goals, no one will ever talk about it.
No, but the minute you're not, you're a problem.
Big facts.
Any other games?
I'm just trying to deflect across to Tottenham's non-league struggles.
I actually have my own view on this game. So Tamworth, the centre back who has gone viral, is a guy called Hayden Hollis, who did his Zidane turn. I don't know if you've seen this.
No.
So the ball's laid back to Hollis. He's the last defender, and instead of going to clear it, he's done a roulette around 2 Tottenham players. So everyone's going, who's this plumber taking the mick out of Tottenham? And he was playing for Chesterfield about a year ago. He's one of our coaches, and he still plays part-time for Tamworth. And he's always done things like this. There's a clip of him for Chesterfield, flicking it over someone's head, ball rolling it, and then clipping the ball into the box for a winning goal. So I was like, get in Hayden Hollis. He's still doing his thing at 32.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
At what? 30 what?
I think he's 32.
He's 32, but he looks about 48.
Oh, yeah. He's got a paper around, that guy, yeah.
Sorry, Hayden, if you're listening.
If you're listening.
A cheap laugh, I'm sorry.
Hell of a turn, though.
If you're not, you've got to. If you're doing it against a Premier League side, then you've got to bring out the tricks, right? Enjoy it.
I thought the pitch looked tragic.
It's one of these really bad 4G pitches that's mainly,
yeah.
JJB, it's like the little black rubbery
Rubber
stuff.
crumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time you pass it, it flicks up, the ball's
Just
bouncing
doesn't look like it was rolling true or anything.
No.
Like,
So these pitches in the National League are still allowed, but once they get promoted into the Football League, they have to rip them up. Because obviously you can't play Football League games on there. So we played at a couple last year, and they are so, like, for a team that's trying to pass the ball around like Tottenham were, it's almost impossible to know if it's going to run true.
but obviously, like that all forms like that is what the cup is all about. Like tiny, tiny club, the levelers that are in place, which should remain. Like it's you don't want it to be all pristine and all perfect for the bigger team, better teams to just come and win the game. Like I thought it really encapsulated what the cup is all about, and I think there are a few like examples of that this weekend. But yeah, that was definitely the highlight.
Yeah, Plymouth last minute goal at Brentford. I know they're only a league apart, but Plymouth had an absolute torrid time.
Struggling, aren't they?
Yeah, so that was a good one. But I'm a huge FA Cup guy. Like the last 3 or 4 seasons, we've gone quite far. So I think that the magic of it is still alive. I think the replays getting scrapped was the first sort of dagger in the heart for this comp. And I saw a lot of it. Like, Tamworth would have made all this money, but they only got to this round because there wasn't a replay in the round before, and it went to penalties. So it's like you take it and you leave it sometimes. But I don't like the replays going personally.
No, I mean neither. I think it's very much like bigger clubs don't want them, and that's why they're not there anymore. But I also see the view that Tamworth's best chance was yesterday to get through was on a penalty shootout yesterday. You know what I mean? Going to White Hart Lane, it's not called that anymore. It's going to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, is where that gap widens and they probably get torn to shreds.
But I don't think they care. I think they care about the £1 million
It's the money, isn't it?
Runs their club for a year, and like that sort of money for those clubs goes so far.
You see about the pricing, the ticket prices.
Saw some guy pay £38 and he stood on like a level platform with everybody else, which I thought was great. My big problem with the replays being scrapped for like game scheduling is Tottenham 3 days after the season will finish, will fly off to Australia or Singapore and go and play an exhibition game, and no one will say anything about it, and it does my head in.
Yeah, spot on. Like they're making room to go and do that and make more money.
Yeah.
But won't do it to, like you say, fund a non-league club for a year if the opportunity were to arise.
I think if they scrap replays and adjust the money that drips down the divisions, that's fine because they're still being supported and these clubs can keep going. But if you're doing neither, it seems like a bit of a slap in the face for the reason this competition is loved by so many people. Because Tamworth can take Tottenham Hotspur to extra time.
I wish it weren't penalties, man.
Yeah, it would be great. I think Ange, his head might have blown off. I don't think he'd have survived.
What was it he said? I mean, he said he was going to win a trophy in the second season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's well on his way.
People keep taking the mick out of him, though. Like, even the interview after the Liverpool game on Tuesday. Yeah. Like, you always win a trophy. It's like, you may say that now, mate.
The way they're playing at the moment, I don't see them getting past Villa in the next round, though.
I mean,
I absolutely do.
It'll be very Villa.
I genuinely think Tottenham are the one team capable of beating anyone.
They'll beat anyone, yeah.
And they're the one team capable of losing to anyone as well.
they're better against.
I just think with Villa's counter attack and how open Spurs are at the back, it's like a Liverpool-esque scoreline could be in that game, and that's going to be a great weekend of sports. So that's the Super Bowl final and the FA Cup fourth round.
Nice. There's a couple of good
weekend of sport.
I think the Newcastle away at Birmingham, that would be a properly tasty FA Cup tie, that, I think.
Yeah,
Ding dong.
Derby have got Leyton Orient rescheduled tomorrow, and the winner plays Man City at home, which is a pretty spinner for them.
Is it? Love that,
Plymouth got Liverpool at home, which is quite a big one for them. I think there was one other really good one in there as well. Can't remember it now off the top of my head.
Leicester v United? Is that the one?
No, there's a fair amount of Premier League ties there, aren't there?
Just pull that one out of thin air, did you?
Oh, Exeter got Forest at home, yeah.
Oh,
Coventry with Ipswich as well. good fixture.
Exeter beat us as well, so I was like, oh yeah, they'll get a terrible run. They won't stay in. Oxford got Forest. Damn it.
Yeah, that's good. Like Forest going away to Exeter at that point in the season where Forest are on a run in the Premier League, it is the last thing they want to do is go on an FA Cup run right now, and they especially don't want to be catching the coach down.
Nah,
I don't. They're not flying. They're not flying, are
they'll
they?
be
They'll
flying.
fly. They'll fly.
The fans are the one you want to feel sorry for. What would be
They're not a
800
flight.
miles?
I didn't think they were a flight team.
What do you mean
Who,
they're not a
Forest?
flight team? They're owned by a Saudi prince.
I'm not seeing the Forest yet.
But what? So it doesn't exist.
No,
Oh,
I'm
no, he's
just
not
saying.
Saudi, is he, Forest? Who's the...
I was going to say, he's not Saudi.
Is he Greek?
I mean, he owns Olympiakos as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Offending a lot of nations right now. Continue.
No, I think he is. Yeah, he's actually a bit of a nutter, the guy that owns Notts Forest.
Yeah, he is. I mean, he was suspended once, I think, for I think, was it punching a ref or
Yeah,
or-
something really
yeah, it
weird.
was something crazy like that. Yeah, he's quite.
That was as recent as late last season, I think.
Evangelos Marinakis.
Marinakis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
No, they definitely won't be flying because even United don't. We barely fly these days.
But I mean, I had forgot. I mean, I'm going off on a bit of a Forest tangent now, but yeah, I'd forgotten about this. But Edu is obviously there now. He went there as director of football from Arsenal.
Means
Yeah.
all their good signings are now going to stop.
Yeah.
I think there'll be I think there'll be something in the link between Forest and Arsenal now, like similarly to what you had with Arsenal and Fulham over the last season. I think you're going to see similar.
I can't see Arsenal wanting to strengthen the team better than them. That's not going to happen.
I mean, listen, Eddie's got a better chance of winning the trophy. You know, going to not an
Well, it's the Arsenal curse. He's left, so he's guaranteed to win Summit.
Yeah. Oh mate.
I said this was a good thing. We're getting a number 9 and a left winger now. And I don't think that happens if you paper over the cracks with a run in the FA Cup. I think we say, yeah, we're building, and I don't think we are. I think we need more building blocks to build. Anyway, we keep revisiting Arsenal transfers. Anything else in the football world before we close off or move on?
Everton, David Moyes. I know you've mentioned that as a possibility. I think that's quite a good move for them.
He called it early.
Our pundit in the.
Oh yeah, it was me, wasn't it? Yes, yeah, I called that.
Yeah, it was. Good work.
Yeah, it felt very obvious, I think. And actually, I think it's one of those. I think there's an interesting difference between. So obviously, West Ham also changed their manager last week as well, and I think there's an interesting difference between the two appointments because I can see Moyes going in there, not making big changes to style of play, maybe unlocking an extra 10% from the players and the crowd, bringing everyone together a little bit, and yeah, turn it around quickly and into winning results. I think for Potter, it's going to be way harder if he wants to play the way that he has previously. So he's going to need a bit more time and a bit more patience. But I wonder if in the long term it might pay off. But I wouldn't be certain of that with the way that West Ham are as a club, that it's the perfect fit for him, to be honest.
If you look at the players, they've got the players to do it. They've got
Do
a
you
very
think?
technically based, like especially their midfielders. Like some of the people in that midfield are very, very good technical footballers. I think at
Who
the
are you
back,
thinking?
I'm thinking Paquetá, I'm thinking Somerville, I'm thinking Bowen. Edson Alvarez is a bit of a brute, but he can pass the football. Who else? Thomas, yeah, Souček is a bit more of the old mould, but still going to need to score goals from set pieces, and he'll be there. Ward-Prowse isn't there anymore, is he? But yeah, fullbacks maybe not. Souček. What's his name? The
Kufal.
Kufal, yeah, a little bit limited. But I think the one rumour I saw today was him going to Brighton for Ferguson on loan, which I think would be pretty smart. They need an out number 9. And obviously he worked with him at Brighton.
Yeah.
So,
They're also linked with Owanyi from Forest today as well. So
yeah, and I saw the Duran thing, but Villa have said absolutely not. Duran's going nowhere.
yeah, I'd be surprised if they could afford him now.
Yeah, I mean he's gone from what was he going to be 35, 40 million in the summer to you're probably looking at
I think
60.
the highest bid was 35, and that was knocked back. I think they wanted 40. And yeah,
Do you think? Do you think he's going?
No.
No, I don't think so. Summer maybe, but not in Jan.
And he's going to just go to the highest bidder.
I mean, he's been heavily linked with PSG, so I would think it's that type of destination that he's looking for.
Still quite young though, and raw in places. Like I feel like PSG's a big step up. I could see him at like a Chelsea because they've got a lot of young players around him.
Yeah.
Or a West Ham where he's clearly the main man, but PSG seems a mile away from where he is.
There's historic links to Chelsea, so I wonder if that rears its head again. I think, to be fair, if he keeps doing what he's been doing, he'll probably have his pick. I think he's got a lot of belief in himself, and he's one of the most exciting forwards in the Premier League, one of the most exciting young forwards in the Premier League. So I think if you've got that under your belt, then you'll have a few options.
Yeah, he seems like he'd be a perfect fit. Like if Forest keep this up, like a Forest-esque player, he's quite physical, fits in because Chris Wood cannot keep doing what Chris Wood's doing. For the next couple of years.
I think it will be a step above Forest personally, but if he went to Forest, I'd be very disappointed.
What if they finish Champions League?
I'd still be disappointed that he thought that was a better place to be.
What about Arsenal?
Would seem like a good move. I actually think a better move for Arsenal would be Ollie Watkins in this window, but that's just me.
Yeah, Duran was the name that was linked, loosely linked. There's been a few that have been linked, but Duran was loosely linked. Go on, fam.
For Arsenal, that wouldn't be the right move. You need a centre forward that scores goals, not just brilliant goals.
That's why I think Gyökeres is a good one.
Probably even Osimhen, I think.
He's going to be on the market, isn't he?
Yeah.
What, in January?
No, in the summer.
He's on loan somewhere, isn't he?
He's at Galatasaray, scoring absolutely loads of goals.
A player that's so good over to Galatasaray. I mean,
his agent's had an absolute stinker though, hasn't he?
Proper stinker.
Yeah.
I think he got rid of him anyway. Yeah, Arsenal should be all over that.
Yeah, I think Arsenal's style of play needs a focal point. Like you'd think City have the similar style of play, and they have Haaland, which he's there to put the chances away, and he can hold the ball up when they need it. Whereas Arsenal's a little tippy tappy at the moment with Havertz at top. That just you can't get through people.
Yeah, and Osimhen's like what 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah, he's a bit of a unit. Yeah, same mold as Isaac, Gyökeres. Like they're all really good options.
Ooh, what's his name? Leipzig.
Sesko.
Yeah.
Did you see his goal at the weekend?
Well, Arsenal were linked with him last summer.
Yeah, but
he's still quite young though. He's only 21, I think. So I think the idea is a little bit raw.
He signed a new deal last summer, and I expect that will include some kind of release clause for this summer.
Who scores more bangers, Sesko or Duran?
Duran.
I think Sesko.
Duran's goal catalogue is just a joke.
It's a joke. Yeah.
It's nearly all of Duran's goals are screamers.
Yeah. Fair enough.
There was. I mean, there've been some screamers this season, but there was one last season in the Conference League at Villa Park that he absolutely rifles in off the bar. I haven't seen many balls hit harder than that, but.
You're a convert now, though, aren't you, Joel? You're screaming shoot now.
Yeah. That definitely wasn't me earlier in the season, but I'm happy for him to shoot from anywhere now.